Welcome to Whisky.com, where fine spirits meet. Today we have a must for a single malt whiskey connoisseur, of a lover of single malt Scotch whiskies. It's the Lagavulin, 16 years old, 43 ABV, a classic of the malts of Scotland, and it belongs to a series of single malt whiskies called the Classic Malts of Scotland, and this is the flagship of this series of the Classic Malt of Scotland, and one of the most often sold single malt whiskies available on the market. It might not be the leader, it might be the leader of the smoky, the peat-rich single malt whiskies in the world. I don't know exactly, but it belongs to the very few, very good selling single malt whiskies. It's very important because this one was the only long-aged single malt whiskey with a peaty, smoke-rich and very intense aroma from the Isle of Islay. And with this whiskey, you can distinguish connoisseurs. If they like smoky whiskies, then they tend to have this one as one of their very favorites. And if they do not like smoky whiskies, they do not like it at all. This whiskey was, or is, one of my best whiskies, one of my personally preferred whiskies, because it shows the very essence of the Islay whiskies from Scotland. It has a very pear-shaped pot still. I put you the photo here. I show you the photo here, and this leads to transferring most of the aromas which will build up during the fermentation process, during the growth of the barley, during the drying of the barley over peat fire. All those aromas are not held back through the shape of the still, but they are thrown over into the final product. And it's said that the fusel oils are carrying a lot of aromas, and I say definitely yes. These heavy oils from the production process, they carry a lot of intensity. The barley is dried over peat fire for a long time, so that the peat content is said to be at a level of 40 to 45 ppm, which is quite heavy, which is typically for the distilleries at Islay's south coast, which is Laphroaig, Lagavulin and Ardbeg. And this whiskey is older. It's 16 years old, so it's much older than the very popular whiskies from the adjacent distilleries. And this longer maturation period leads to a more complex and more intense aroma. And during the long maturation period, the peat aroma, the phenols, they are oxidized to more stable compounds, and this gives a not too peaty character or smoky character to the whiskey, but to a more complex and broad character. This is the good thing of long maturation, and of course the transfer of the aromas from the cask into the whiskey. So we have everything. We have the distillery character with the pear-shaped pot stills. We have the very strong smoke by drying the barley. We have an intense influence of the cask by a very, very long maturation period. There's everything in this bottle. We're very Scottish today. We're saving money. We open a small bottle. In a few countries in the world, there's this 1/5 of a liter bottle available in small sets of 3 bottles, not 3 of one kind, but with the others of the classic malt of Scotland, where I tasted already I think the Talisker I had and the Dalwhinnie, and yeah, we will see what I had already. Here we go. Smoke. A lot of smoke on this tiny cork. Wow. There's smoke everywhere here in the room. Very intense peat smoke. And it takes quite a time to smell behind this smoke. But this smoke is not that harsh and intense like the young single malts from Islay have. This is more complex, a heavier, a rounder smoke. Then there is a near shore appearing, the smell from the sea, algae, iodine. And in the back there is a heavy sweetness. And there's something, I dare not to say, something rotten material from the beach. This is very complex. If you do not like smoky whiskey, don't buy this one. This is very intense. Yeah. Time for a sip. There is a soft but deep sweetness coming up, and a little saltiness, and a little oak. The oak is becoming stronger, covering the inside of your mouth, and dry peat smoke. There is no chance to have salt in a whiskey, because it's distilled, and as the sun evaporates the water and the clouds are raining sweet water to the ground, the pot stills are heated, the sweet water rises together with the alcohol, goes over into the condenser and into the casks. So salt leaves behind. So there isn't the chance to have salt in a whiskey, but it's a remembrance of salt. The smoke is becoming lovely, sweet. The sea fades away, low tide, and the algae and the kelp. and a little oakiness. This Lagavulin from the Isle of Islay is a cornerstone of the Scotch whisky industry, the Scotch malt whisky industry. It's an absolute must to have this single malt whisky, and I think I already had the Distillers edition. In the video I give you the link here, and there are sometimes from independent bottlers bottlings which pretend to be from Lagavulin, but Lagavulin stopped selling casks more than a decade ago, and all the whiskey from the Lagavulin distillery is used inside the big company of Diageo. So the independent bottlers who say, "Oh, in my bottle there is Lagavulin in it," they won't write it on the bottle, because otherwise they would have problems. So the real and only Lagavulin is inside this bottle. It's one of my very favorite. It must be available very close to you, to where you live. It's one of the most often sold single malt whiskies from Scotland. If you hadn't one, you should have one. Thank you for watching Whisky.com, and please stay tuned, and if you like this video, give me your thumbs up.